A clash in the Commonwealth. Coming up on the bench, 18th ranked Syracuse men's lacrosse was at 3rd ranked Virginia, looking to keep the momentum up and keep the tournament hopes alive. The Cavaliers have been one of the nation's best all year, so were the Orange up to the task?
But that was far from the only important lacrosse. A 2021 National Championship game rematch with Boston College, a perfect 15-0 Syracuse women's lacrosse season on the line. And Trey, a top 5 matchup that is a classic of its own.
Boston College, Syracuse, give me that any day of the week. But Cuse football had its spring game this past Friday. We recap that along with give you a sneak peek of the Orange in this year's NFL draft. It's on the bench, and it starts right now. Hey there, welcome to On the Bench. He's Zach Letson. I'm Trey Redfield. Thanks so much for joining us, Zach. An action-packed show today. Not only 30 minutes, 40 minutes of content. Give us that.
I mean, you need it. Listen, a lot happens in sports. You need an extra 10 minutes.
40 minutes of On the Bench. How you doing? Let's roll with this week's headlines. Tewaaraton season is almost here, and Syracuse is once again well represented. On the women's side, attackers Megan Tyrell and Emma Ward, along with goalie Delaney Schweitzer, made the list. On the men's side, another stout goalie in Will Mark. Women's Lacrosse begins its ACC tournament slate tomorrow, while men's lacrosse hits the road to face second-ranked Duke in what is an oh-so-crucial matchup. Face-off is set for Saturday at 1.
But Trey, plenty of Orange recognition taking place here on campus and taking place within. For the very first time ever, Syracuse softball will retire a jersey. April 29th, that's this Saturday, the only fitting day to retire the number 29 that belongs to Jenny Kyra. She's playing, could you say she's deserving? No player in Syracuse history has more wins, 97, a better ERA at 187, strikeouts at over 1,000. How about 28 career shutouts as well, which is a program record, a Grand Slam pick to be the first ever Orange player to earn immortality. That's this Saturday, 1 o'clock, Game 2, and the Orange take on Virginia over at Skytop.
A month ago yesterday, former Syracuse guard Joe Girard announced he was entering the transfer portal. Time has gone along and interest has been shown across the country with an official visit to LSU, but add another one to the list, this time Clemson. Last year, Girard averaged 16.4 points per game, shooting 89% from the free throw line. That's a career high, by the way. Despite posts on Instagram, JG3 has stated he is, quote, not committed. Hashtag not committed, that is.
Well, Syracuse men's lacrosse trying to hashtag change around its season. The Orange did everything it could to perform CPR on its once dead year. From 0-5 against ranked opponents to all of a sudden back-to-back top 15 wins, all of a sudden Gary Gates' team felt pretty good. But Saturday was the ultimate test. A road battle with number 3 Virginia, who blasted the Orange into smithereens not once, but twice last season. But in 2023, how did the red-hot Orange fare this time around? Let's take a look at how it went down inside, well, a rainy Klockner Stadium, but I'll tell you what, they do anything to make sure the Orange and the Cavs face off in this top 15 matchup with all sorts of stakes. For Virginia, Griffin Schutt's getting it started, and not the start that Gary Gates' team wanted out of the gate. Virginia jumps out to a 6-0 lead early on. Thomas McConvey a couple minutes later. This was a Virginia onslaught for the early going. That goal right there making it 3-0 Cavs in those throwback uniforms. Later on in the first, now 5-zip Cavaliers. Watch this offense unfold. You want to talk about leaving it on a silver platter? That's exactly what Connor does right here, leaving it for Xander Dixon perfectly. If you're a Syracuse fan, you're wondering if this game's over after the first, right? But a new quarter and a new mindset. Fire me up, Cole Kirst, doing it for the Newhouse BDJ kids. Syracuse gets its first goal of the game to cut it to 6-1 in the second. Back comes UVA. It seems like every time Syracuse showed some life, the Cavs came roaring back, and right there, McConvey with another one. Virginia goes up 10-5 into the halftime break. Alex Simmons with a couple back-to-back goals to help keep the Orange around and cut it to a 5-goal deficit heading into halftime. Into the second half, same score, and, well, it was the Xander Dixon show. Double teams, I'll tell you what, you look double as bad trying to guard him. 7 big ones for Xander Dixon going to work on Brandon Aviles. How you doing with the bounce to get Will Mark? This one turned ugly, 13-5 Virginia. The Orange trailed in the third. The Orange with a long way to go, but getting back in it. The lunging goal, the first in the career for the freshman Billy Dwan. Syracuse still down 13-7 midway through the third. Now into the fourth. Spallina to Hiltz. How many times have we said that this season?
A lot.
We have. We got a 5-goal game. Syracuse trying to keep things interesting, but Lars Tiffany's boys know how to slam the doors shut. The speed leading to the finish. Noah Chismar, he's jacked up, and right before the third quarter ends, Virginia gets it back up to 7. At this point, the game was all but over, but Xander Dixon just making sure. Virginia with the exclamation point. They beat the Orange 19-12. Peter Elliott with more thoughts from Central Virginia.
Syracuse men's lacrosse is making a late season push for the NCAA tournament. That means every game matters, especially the ones against top opponents. And the Orange had a chance to make a statement on Saturday against the number 4 Virginia Cavaliers. But if anything, they made their case for the postseason even weaker, as Joey Spallina on the offense failed to rise to the occasion in a crushing 19-12 loss to the Cavaliers. After the game, head coach Gary Gates said his team just got outplayed by the Cavaliers.
We really didn't get good quality possessions, and then on a few of them when we started getting a run going, we made some mistakes and turned the ball over, forced a bad shot, or they made just a good save. So that's what happens when you're a young team, and when you go in, you got to play a perfect game to beat a top 3 team, and fortunately we didn't get it done today.
We did okay with it. I thought Kate Sostad did a fantastic today with guarding number 22 Spallina, but then being ready to help in the crease and chop in the crease when the crease feeds are thrown in there, which is not easy to do because they'll sneak the back pipes from the line.
But it's not over just yet for the Orange. Syracuse has one more game remaining on their schedule, and it's a must-win. Gates squad will stay on the road next Saturday when they'll face another top 5 opponent, Duke. SU is looking to extract revenge for a heartbreaking overtime loss they suffered to the Blue Devils back on March 5th. Face-off is set for noon. Reporting from Klockner Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, I'm Peter Elliott, CitrusTV.
Well, Virginia flexed its muscles. 12 goals for the Orange. 11 for Virginia, but not the Virginia team, Trey. Between 2 Virginia players. All right, Xander Dixon, Peyton Cormier combining for 11 goals and a dominant win.
That's absurd, and it's a career high for Dixon with those 7 goals. And it just surprised me during the highlights how there was a short stick demon on Xander Dixon at some point in these games. You just can't do something like that against one of the most high-powered offenses in Virginia. I mean, even in a guy in Peyton Cormier, who's one of the best lefties in the nation, too. I mean, it's absurd what Syracuse's defensive game plan was because, let's keep it real, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It did not work
at all in terms of Syracuse had an opportunity for a season-changing win. Instead, more anguish. Only one more opportunity for the Cuse in the regular season. Coming up on the bench, well, one ranked matchup isn't enough. We had a game for the ages between number 1 Syracuse and number 5 Boston College, and there were all sorts of storylines. Stick around. More OTB after this.
Superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did Cavs go on vacation? New York.
Back with you on the bench, Zach Letson, Trey Redfield. Trey, call me a little crazy, but I think lacrosse is the talk of the town these days in the whole CNY.
Well, you check your watch, you check out the calendar, that's the case because April is here and it's been here, and that's lacrosse season here in Syracuse. And just like the number next to their name 1, the Orange needed that many more wins to complete the perfect regular season. This matchup, a little bit different though at SU Soccer Stadium due to getting ready for tournament games when they are away from the Dome due to graduation. Also with high stakes too. Syracuse women's lacrosse going up against 5th ranked Boston College. The Eagles back in town, and Syracuse is looking for its first win over BC since the ACC tournament in the semifinal round back in 2021. It was the Eagles that actually started it out the scoring first. Kayla Martello, she drives in. This ball trickling around. A whistle blew on the ball across the goal line. Doesn't matter though. BC's up 1-0. 3 minutes later, how about Sierra Cockrell driving inside, ripping, sticking, top shelf. Syracuse scores 6 straight goals. That was the game's longest run. The Orange were rolling. Megan Tyrell, the same in the first quarter. She drives in, fires at the doorstep. A 6-1 Syracuse lead, but Boston College would add on one more thanks to Jen Medjid, the leading scorer for the Eagles. Syracuse still leading those 6-3. Rolling into the second now. 12 minutes left. An easy feed for McKenna Davis. The Canandaigua native makes it 7-5 Syracuse, so Boston College slowly cutting into the deficit. But how about Maddie Baxter? She was phenomenal in this game. She finished with a team-high 4 goals. It put Syracuse up with that one, up 11-6. Now into the third quarter. How about Davis once again? She was fun to watch as well. Falling a little bit, but scoring as well inside the 8-meter fan. Easy as pie for Davis. It's a 12-7 Syracuse lead, and then this one is history. Megan Tyrell on the feed to her sister Emma. That's point number 397, the most points in Syracuse women's lacrosse history by a single player. Now into the fourth. Crunch time. Courtney Weeks scores here. Just like that, we're tied up at 15. A minute later, less than 5 minutes to go into the fourth. How about, once again, another Boston College goal? The Eagles are rolling and they're loving it right now. I mean, I was at this game too. There was a pretty healthy Boston College crowd there, but Sierra Cockrell had none of it. She makes it a 16-15 Syracuse lead. 2 minutes later, though, Weeks answers right back. We're tied up once again, this time at 16. Was it Syracuse that had the final answer? Not so fast. Davis with the game winner to put Boston College in front for good. 17-16 the final. The Eagles are ACC regular season champions for the 3rd time in program history. Phenomenal stuff from BC, and it was an SU squad that didn't show out as much as it needed to. I mean, Megan Tyrell, she did break the program's all-time points record, but still not the best night for the grad student. Just 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist. Someone that did stand out though, Zach, Maddie Baxter with a team-high 4 goals.
Maddie Baxter was excellent and led the way for the Syracuse team with a career high in that margin, but leaves a little sour of a taste in your mouth. Trey, a 6-goal lead washed away.
Just a little bit. Now they have to take it into the ACC tournament. And thanks to BC's win over SU, the Orange are the 2 seed. The Eagles move into the top spot. Either way, Cuse faces Virginia Tech tomorrow at 4. The winner plays 3rd seed in North Carolina in the semis, which is not as ideal, playing the Tar Heels in the championship. You'd rather be playing Carolina in the championship round instead of being in the semis. But either way, Syracuse's quest begins tomorrow. So give Adam Avin a follow on Twitter for live updates. And speaking of Adam, check this out. An update on Megan Tyrell making history.
You know, I wouldn't be here without any of you guys about the teams in the past. And, you know, the alumni, they're just so huge. They're such a huge reason of why I love lacrosse and love Syracuse. So I just really love you guys, and I really wouldn't be here without you. So thank you guys so much.
Some of the best attackers to ever play lacrosse did it here at Syracuse. Katie Rowan, Kayla Traynor, Alyssa Murray, the list goes on and on. When Megan Tyrell joined this storied program in 2019, she wasted no time making her own mark. Now, 5 years later, Megan Tyrell stands above all those greats with the most points in program history.
To not only be the all-time points leader, it's not just at any program that she's done that. I mean, she's done that at Syracuse, where the best attackers have played.
Her awareness and lacrosse IQ is just unbelievable. You know, she's so smooth and creative. She's just so multidimensional. You try to shut down, you know, one of her strengths, she is able to do X, Y, and Z.
You know, the way we talk about it is really she You know, when she touches the ball, our offense just becomes alive. What makes this group so special is you have a superstar like Megan Tyrell who does not care whether she shows up in the stat sheet or not.
It is so hard to stop, and that's what makes her such a great player. I love how fired up she gets, and just how much she loves the game, and loves her team, and loves Syracuse, and I'm just so proud of her.
Megan's 5-year career here at Syracuse compares with the best of them. After she broke the record, Coach Trainer said to get excited because she still has a lot more lacrosse left to play, so her new points record is going to get harder and harder to catch. No doubt her number will be up in the rafters of that dome behind me one day. Reporting, Avin, CitrusTV.
But that's it. Emma Tyrell scores off the assist from her sister. Megan Tyrell sits alone on top of the Salt City as SU's all-time points leader. 397 points.
It just seems like every year in Syracuse women's lacrosse, there's always someone that stands out. I mean, it was Megan Tyrell in 2021. Emily Harris-Chuck comes back in 2022. Next thing you know, she's the goal-scoring queen at SU. This year, it's Tyrell once again. 397 points. That's absurd. She's going to be, what she's done here at Syracuse, Zach, it's going to be over 400. Easily.
It is absurd, and she will be remembered in this program for a very, very long time. I just want to say, how cool was that moment, right? Being surrounded by your team, watching that video. Obviously, the emotions were coming to Megan as well. A really cool moment for a program that obviously under Kayla Trainer has now hit a new gear.
Let's wrap up with this. I mean, Kayla Trainer is on that full screen right now. That's the crazy part about it. Megan, Tyrell, and all these players on Syracuse women's lacrosse are passing their head coach when it comes to these records. And the Orange look to continue the momentum going into the ACC tournament. All begins tomorrow against Virginia Tech. When we come back on the bench, football time. Oh, we're being dead serious. We recap Syracuse's spring football game and get into some SU stars that are geared up to play on Sundays. That's next on the bench.
The black truck. Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome to my house. Everybody's pretty tired of each other. The walls were closing in. Clearly a case of too much family, too close, 24/7. If this sounds like your house, try going someplace new. YourLifeYourVoice.org. You'll find lots of ideas to help you handle the family stresses of being confined to close quarters. YourLifeYourVoice.org. It could help you find a little more breathing room.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Smokey, catch!
Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Well, we're back on the bench. Trey Redfield, Zach Letson with you. Trey, we talked about football right before we went to the break. And, well, football's back, kind of back.
We got the sneak peek of Syracuse football, and that's exactly what we're looking for. I mean, this is a Syracuse team that broke a lot of hearts last year. Maybe something different in 2023?
A lot of people have been longing for Syracuse football, and for the first time since that 28-20 Pinstripe Bowl loss to Minnesota. You remember that? 4 days after Christmas? Syracuse fans got their first glimpse at the gridiron and the 2023 Syracuse football team with the annual spring game that took place on Saturday night. And Trey, more of an opportunity to see the young guns shine, see what they can do. Justin Lamson got a lot of playoff time in there, finding Isaiah Jones an opportunity for Lamson to shine.
Injury last year, you kind of get that backup quarterback battle idea with Carlos Del Rio Wilson, Justin Lamson in there as well. Both who had really phenomenal games, but I'm looking at the running backs as well. With Quinn Allen having himself a solid end in that bowl game. Sophomore season may be a sophomore surge for the RB, Zach.
And Lamson and Carlos Del Rio Wilson, of course, the two quarterbacks that got action in the spring game because of the fact that Garrett Schrader was undergoing an arm procedure. And, well, a lot of action that the young quarterback that has yet to play a real snap got, and that is what the spring game is all about, is getting these guys those opportunities, Trey.
That's really what it comes down to. Who's going to shine the most? Who's going to be that extra spark plug that those Syracuse football fans are seeing?
Well, you see those players on your screen, and let's take you through the biggest Syracuse returning pieces to the team in 2023. Maybe the biggest piece of them all. Didn't even play in the spring game. You didn't just see him on your screen. Starting quarterback Garrett Schrader, who underwent an arm procedure back in late February. But hey, there's a lot of excitement for the Mississippi State transfer who nearly doubled his passing yard total from 2021 to 2022. Now, over to the defense. The Orange are being gutted. Jahad Carter, gone. Deuce Chestnut, gone to the transfer portal. Garrett Williams and Michael Jones, who you'll hear more about in a second, they're gone to the draft. So it's Marlowe Wax that anchors a brand new defense under first-year defensive coordinator Rocky Long. Wax is no slouch, waxing out opponents with the numbers you see on your screen. The co-host of the Mob podcast is also coming off an All-ACC honorable mention selection. How about Garrett Schrader's friends, though, on the offensive side? Arande Gadsden, he enters 2023 with some pretty high expectations. First team All-ACC selection in 2022, Gadsden racked up nearly 1,000 receiving yards, 969, which is a tally that ranks 7th all-time in Orange history. Gadsden had one of 3 spring game touchdowns in the game on Friday, and well, those are some of the guys that you can expect to see in the fold in 2023. But Trey, as we know, a lot to talk about the guys that are on the way out.
Plenty of reasons why to talk about it, Zach, and the big reason why is because the NFL draft is starting this Thursday. So to talk about it all, we bring in our Cuse Countdown analyst, Austin Barach. Austin, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with a little bit of overreaction, not an overreaction type stuff here. We're going to give you 3 questions. You're going to say if it's an overreaction or not. Simple as that, right? So let's start in the backfield. Sean Tucker's a guy who has been injured for most of the pro day and NFL combine stuff. And because of those injury concerns, Sean Tucker will go undrafted. Overreaction or not an overreaction?
What are we doing here? This is an overreaction if I've ever heard of one. I don't want to live in a world, Trey, where Sean Tucker doesn't get drafted. Look, obviously there's some injuries, a heart condition that was a little weird, but ostensibly he's good to go right now. Look at that on your screen right now. He did the pro day on Monday here in the 315. He put up numbers 38 inches on the vertical leap. If he went to the combine, that'd be tied for third among all running backs there. Then he goes to the bench press. You just saw that. 29 reps. That's 4 more than anybody else. Strong guy right there. And look, yesterday I talked to a source close to the situation, and he told me that Sean Tucker is leaner right now than he was in the season. That tells me that teams will want to draft this guy. Over 1,300 scrimmage yards in back-to-back seasons. This guy's getting drafted.
Isn't that crazy? Sean Tucker benching 225 pounds 29 times, weighing in at 209. If you can bench your body weight in a little bit,
I can't do that.
You're strong. But if you can bench it 29 times, oh boy, that's pretty absurd. But let's go into defensive backs now. Talk Garrett Williams, a guy who tore his ACL midway through the season, a huge loss in the secondary last year for Syracuse. With the Harrisburg, North Carolina native, this is a guy that slides into day 3. Is that an overreaction or not an overreaction?
I hate to say this, Cuse fans, but not an overreaction. You talk about a guy who, yes, he had 0 penalties committed in his last 2 seasons in college football, but I just think he gives up too many explosive plays. That's a big knock against him. Not to mention, Trey, the ACL injury. I know in modern day science, ACLs aren't as big of a deal. He should be ready in July, but when you look at it, I just think teams will want guys to come in and practice right away, get some reps with the scheme. They're going to want guys who are going to play for them day 1. I just don't think he's special enough as a talent to go in the top 2 days.
You think Williams is going to get drafted, though?
Yes, he definitely will.
And he's definitely going to be one of those dark horses, potentially, right? Knowing, the ACL is kind of a tough blow for him, but whoever picks him up in day 3, in your eyes,
yes,
be one lucky team, that's for sure. And whoever picks up Matthew Bergeron, that's going to be the case as well. Left tackle who was phenomenal this season for Syracuse, made a couple of ACC accolades, was just fun to watch all year on the offensive line. This is our last statement. Matthew Bergeron goes in the top 50 in this year's NFL draft in Kansas City.
Yeah, not an overreaction either. I know a lot of the mock people will say he's beyond a top 50 pick, but look, I believe it. I looked at every pick between 31 and 50, and guess how many teams need an offensive line guy? All of them. But in particular, you got the Titans, the Jets, and the Steelers. Pittsburgh has 2 picks between 31 and 50. They're definitely going to be intrigued at a guy like Bergeron. Even our Patriots, Trey, have a pick in that range as well. You look at this guy, Sean Tucker ran to the left side all the time because of his physicality, his balance, his strength, his footwork. Matthew Bergeron is the complete package. Any offensive line group is going to want a guy like him. High character guy as well.
The Quebec Crusher is what teams are going to be calling him soon in the NFL. And it's funny, you mentioned the Patriots. I saw this thing that had Matthew Bergeron being compared to Marshall Newhouse. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Beyond me, probably beyond you as well. That's Austin Barach. You can catch him on Cuse Countdown every week. Austin, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
When we come back on the bench, Zach and I are going to be hitting dingers. We're talking Syracuse softball, who had plenty of road trips this week. One at Binghamton and another this weekend at Lafayette. Find out how the Orange fared next on OTB.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Back on the bench, that's Zach Letson. I'm Trey Redfield. Thanks for being with us. Zach, you don't bunt, do you?
Oh, no, come on.
Okay, good.
Come on.
Dingers is the only option, and that's the case for Syracuse football. Syracuse softball, excuse me. It's been a team that has had plenty of shining points this season. A no-hitter, a couple of non-conference player of the week honors, got a series win in there against NC State at home. It's been a solid year for Cuse softball, and who had itself a very busy week away from the ACC, and it started this weekend down in Binghamton. The Orange heading down to Vestal to take on the Bearcats, and this was a doubleheader between these two. There was game 1, game 2, little games that went both ways, but in the first game, it was Angel Yasso that singled the center. Madeline Lopez comes in to score. Syracuse has the early 1-0 advantage. Later in that top half, how about Layla Alves getting into it? She led Syracuse with a pair of hits and a pair of RBIs. Drives in one here. Syracuse with an early 2-0 advantage down in the southern tier. We go into the bottom half now. Brianna Santos, she doubles to left center. The Bearcats answering every blow that the Orange brought in the top half, but Binghamton doing it in the bottom half. 2-1 Syracuse. Now into the bottom of the fourth. Binghamton answering once again. Haley Ehlers with a bloop single to right field, dropping in front of 3 Syracuse defenders, second base, center field, and right. Either way, Binghamton ties it up thanks to that bloop single in right center field, but it was Madison Knight that came through in the fifth. Scoring Tessa Gallipo, and it's Syracuse that gives itself a 3-2 advantage. One last ground over to the third base side. It secures a 4-2 Syracuse victory over Binghamton in game 1. Game 2, though, not so pretty. A 12-3 final that Binghamton took in 5 innings. So the run rule applied early, and you see the stats right there. You could tell that second game was very lopsided. 14 runs for the Bearcats, just 7 for New York.
That's just ugly for Shannon Depking's team, and a game that'll leave a sour taste in your mouth. And I'll tell you what, I was never really a fan of the sour Warhead candies growing up, but Laffy Taffies, those are a little sweeter.
Those are phenomenal.
They are. They're pretty good, right? And Syracuse had a chance for a much sweeter taste in its mouth against a 6-29-1 Lafayette squad, a trip out to eastern Pennsylvania. Let's see how the Orange fared out this time around, looking to bounce back from that tough loss to end the Binghamton series. First game of a doubleheader, and we just talked about Layla Alves. That'll do. An RBI single down the right field line to score Tessa Gallipo. Syracuse takes a 1-0 lead in the first inning. This time, Gallipo at the plate. Why not? Another RBI single, and that brings home Syracuse's second run of the game, 2-0 in the seconds. Gallipo, again, this game was really all about her. This time, splitting the right center gap, Syracuse scores 5 times in the 6th. Madison Knight with another fantastic performance. Orange take it 10-2, and they'd sweep that doubleheader. Now, on to game 3. Vying for the sweep, a Sunday matinee. Syracuse aiming for its 5th win in the last 7 tries. Let's keep talking about Tessa Gallipo, right?
Why not?
I mean, why not? This time she hits it on the screws to second base. 1-0 Syracuse, make it 2-0. She advances to second on the throw. Syracuse taking care of business early on in this one, scoring another run and giving the Orange that early lead for an offense that had all sorts of success. Then a little oppo, how you doing for Kelly Breen off the right field wall. Almost cleared the fence. This Syracuse offense was so hot. It's most runs in a series all season, 3-0 Cuse. 9-1 in the 7th, and that ball is on a one-way ticket out of here. Taylor Posner sends that one out. 11-1 Orange. This Orange offense just had a perfect weekend. High fives all around for the Syracuse team. What a game for this team. They won by an average of 9 runs throughout the 3 games. Domination and the first 3-game sweep for the Orange all season long. We talked about those 3 wins by an average of 9 runs apiece, but take a look at what the Orange have remaining. Not a lot of softball left. 2 ACC sets and 2 non-conference series remain, but the Orange need ACC W's and badly. Remember, 13 ACC teams, only 10 of those make the ACC tournament. Right now, the Orange sit 11th. Well, it's time for one last break on the bench, but when we return, a lot of stardom in the 3-1-5 this week with only 5 spots available. We'll tell you our top performers of the week, plus some top plays on the slate. More OTB on the other side.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Wrapping up shop on the bench, he's Zach Letson. I'm Trey Redfield, but Zach, we can't wrap up without getting the best 1-2 punch at OTB. You know what that is, right?
What's that?
Well, it's me and you. And then after that, it's Performers of the Week and then Top Plays. We begin with our Performers of the Week, and we start with Syracuse men's lacrosse. Didn't get the win at Virginia, but the Orange gave themselves a chance because of this guy, Alex Simmons, a grad student who has really shined for SU, coming over from Denver. Showed it, and then some against the Cavaliers with a season-high 4 goals, including one of the best goals I have seen all year. You should see it in Top Plays.
Oh,
it is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it.
The folks will see it, and let's stay on the lacrosse field for our next pick for Top Plays. Maddie Baxter, who we talked about earlier in the show, a career-high 4 goals. Trey, in that win, in that game, rather, not a win. Syracuse ends up blowing a 6-goal lead and losing to Boston College, but that was not to the fault of Maddie Baxter. A first-half hat trick under the bright lights. She didn't even start this game. Casually, a career-high 4 goals on 4 shots. Trey, she's got her mom in the crowd taking pictures with Felicia Leggett-Jack. You gotta love it for Maddie Baxter.
There's been a lot of talk about freshman standouts, and Joey Spallina is one of those guys. And hey, I'm all for that. But don't get me wrong. Get me more fired up about Madison Knight. The freshman is our next performer of the week. Knight in the circle gave up just 4 earned runs in 3 starts. All of them wins, by the way. And at the point, the Baltimore native went 7 for 18, tallying 6 RBIs and 4 doubles. I mean, you want to talk about a pickup for head coach Shannon Depking. She is a pickup and then some.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Very much so. Very much so. Well, more love to give to the Syracuse women's lacrosse team. They're pretty good, 15-1, and in large part thanks to Sierra Cockrell, who had a big coming out party for Syracuse. 3 goals, 2 assists for Cockrell in that loss to Boston College. Really a sensational game. A hat trick, those 2 assists. She also, Trey, had the goal to put Syracuse up 16-15 with under 5 minutes to go. Heck of a game. Unfortunately, that final result was for naught.
You thought she was going to be the hero, but hey, either way, Cockrell was second on the team in goals behind Maddie Baxter. But one more softball player to wrap up. It's not another 2-way player, but this gal can rink. Trust me. Our final performer of the week is Tessa Gallipo. Started in all 47 games last year for SU in her freshman year, dominating in her sophomore year, and showed that last week. 2 home runs, one of them being a one-way ticket out of here in your eyes, but one against Binghamton, another against Lafayette. And speaking of the Leopards, Gallipo pounced on them. Going, get ready for this. 571 from the dish. Giddy up, Letson. Let's go.
Oh, that's not too bad. Plenty of great moments for Gallipo. And while we talk about our best performers, how about the best moments from this past week on the Hill in Syracuse? Well, there were plenty of great moments. And we'll start back in lacrosse. Syracuse taking on Virginia in men's lacrosse with our number 5 play right here. And it's not a goal, and you know what? It's a little bit unorthodox. But watch this. Woo, woo. Watch that little spin. Finn Thompson says, I just want to rock. Just spin right around him and picks up the ball, making it look about as casual as you possibly could.
Rolling into number 4. We're talking dingers once again, and why not? This time, it's Taylor Postner. She gets into this one, and Oppo Taco over to right center field fence. Syracuse would sweep Lafayette in ease, too. 33 runs that weekend against the Leopards. That's pretty absurd.
Trey, it's first 3-game sweep all season. But let's go back to lacrosse. We showed some love to the BDJ kid, Cole Kirst, the transfer out of Lehigh. And how about this move right here? Taking his defender, a spin, a bouncer into the back of the net. He has been on one for Syracuse in this extra year of eligibility. 20-plus goals for a guy that came in. Story was a lot about freshman Cole Kirst in the limelight.
Live, laugh, love the new house kid. More lacrosse now. This time on the women's side. You're going to love this one. And you may be surprised why this is number 2. Look at that. Behind the back, Olivia Adamson goes, I like bacon on myself. You know that? That was absolutely phenomenal. Seeing this live, going behind the back, Olivia Adamson owns the show. Dominant in the draw control circle and can score inside the 8-meter fan.
Trey, this is our number 1 play. This might be the number 1 play in college lacrosse all season. Alex Simmons with the offhand, are you kidding me? That one basically behind his ankles. No chance for Matthew Nunes in net. Highlight reel stuff from Alex Simmons.
And that was in like garbage time too. So Simmons was just like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to fling it behind my legs and go for it. If it goes in, it goes in. If it goes in, it's probably a SportsCenter top 10 play. No big deal. No big deal. But Syracuse men's lacrosse needing a win against Duke on Saturday. Syracuse women's lax. ACC tournament time coming up. A lot to be excited about. And next week, we're going to have all the OTB anchors, so it's not going to be the last of us just yet. Next week, all 8 of us will be taking you through on the bench. But for this week, it wraps it up. That's Zach Letson. I'm Trey Redfield. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV Sports for all the updates you need to know. But to close up shop, we leave you with our images of the week.
Told you. We're going to hang out and watch a movie.
You could just blame it on the face-offs. I thought Rachusa. Whoa! Are you kidding me?
Shuts, scores. He can shoot from distance. Instead, he feeds inside, getting this to 3-0 lead here, trying to win their ACC championship this year, make it 4-0. Wow, look at that. Beautiful passing, like eyes in the back of their heads. Right on the doorstep is Dixon again. That's a hat trick in the first quarter. Inside goal, that's way too easy. This time it's the freshman Truett Sunderland. Goal line extended, will look to maybe get it to Schellenberger behind the cage. Instead he comes up, beautiful pass and a shot. What a great goal by Jutz.
Perfect game to beat a top 3 team, and unfortunately we didn't get it done today.